I'm Soul from the band Bilk.
For people who might not know yet, how would you describe Bilk in one sentence?
Rock and roll.
What is the story behind the name Bilk and what does it mean to you now?
Bilk means when you run off from a cab without paying the fare. My dad's a black cab driver in London. It means, I've told this story about a million times in interviews, do you know what I mean? But it means when you run off from a cab without paying the fare, because I was trying to think of like a cool band name, you know, but I kept thinking of pretentious band names. And he came home and I said, "How was work, Dad?" And he said, "Yeah, it was alright." So Bilk to me. And I said, "What's Bilk mean?" He says, "When someone runs off from a cab without paying." And then I went, "That sounds cool," you know what I mean? And he went, "You can use it if you want," and then that was the name. What's it mean to me now? Nothing really. I mean, we get a lot of people say milk with a B, you know what I mean? Well, we have to say it a lot because we go, "Oh yeah," they go, "What you band you in?" We go, "Oh, Bilk." And they go, "Oh, like, oh, milk." I go, no, milk with a B, you know what I mean? There's a very big difference. We never call ourselves Milk.
You've been touring around the UK. How's tour life been and what's been the highlight so far?
The gigs have been good, you know what I mean? Like Liverpool, Manchester, Colchester, you know. It's all been good, like, you know, the show's been banging, we have a laugh on tour. You have your ups and downs, because that's like tour life, isn't it, you know what I mean? It's like 1 minute it's like fucking, you're extreme, like, you have extreme highs, the next minute you have extreme lows, you know what I mean? But that's kind of just the nature of the job, really. It's that sort of job, it's not like a normal sort of career where you're just like level, you know what I mean? You do the same thing day in and day out. It's like, one day it's great and the next day it's shocking, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like up and down and a bit chaotic. But I like that about it, you know? Yeah. I don't know if there's any standout moment though, you know what I mean? The gigs have just been good and it's been a laugh, you know what I mean? We have a good time, we have fun, you know what I mean?
Is touring your favourite part of this job or is it like studio sessions or?
Sometimes, I don't know, like I used to think touring was my favourite part. But since being on this tour, I felt that writing is like up there for me, you know what I mean? Penning the songs together, because I write the songs in the band, you see, so I think penning the songs together and doing that, I really enjoy that, you know what I mean? But I like all of it, I like all aspects, but touring is fun. Touring's like the fun part, you know, it's like the payoff, you know what I'm saying? But writing is hearing all the songs come together, I enjoy that. Yeah.
You've played a lot of festivals over the last few years. Do you have a favourite one you've played?
Red in the Leeds is good. I always like Red in the Leeds. It's just teenagers going mad with beer cans strapped to their heads, you know what I mean? And Shag Me written on their chest, you know what I'm saying? Pen, marker pen. They burn each other's tents and go fucking mad, they jump up and down. I like that. You know what I mean? I like it when when we play festivals where there's like a young crowd jumping up and down, you know. It's cool to have the older people there as well, but a lot of them, you know, they're kind of older, so they stand there sipping their pints or whatever, you know. Whereas the young people get proper involved and just like, you know, proper send it, you know what I mean?
You're doing the Europe leg of the tour in November. Do the crowds feel different when you perform in different places?
Yeah, totally. You can really notice it. Like London's really chaotic for us, whereas we played like, you know, some of the places, because it's obviously the small venues tour, right? The Music Venue Trust. So we're playing a lot more of the sort of small provincial towns in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? So you get different sort of crowds, maybe some of them are less energetic, and then you get some that are fucking like mental from the moment you walk on the stage. You really can't predict it, you know? But when we go Europe, we definitely do find that, like the French crowds, you know, in Paris, like that's always goes off. You know, we always get a good crowd there. In Germany, they love it in Germany. The thing is, the difference between the UK and Europe, yeah, is in UK everyone's quite self-conscious, you know what I'm saying, and he's like quite worried about what people think of him and everything. Whereas like you go to like Germany or somewhere and everyone's just losing it, you know. Yeah, you always get even if the crowd's a bit stiff, you always get like one German dude at the front just running around in circles shouting, you know what I mean, spilling his drink, you know what I mean, because they don't give a fuck. They're just like, they like the sounds, they get involved, you know what I mean. Whereas the UK is a bit more stiff in it. Everyone's a bit more polite and a bit more like self-conscious.
What would you say is the hardest thing about being in the music industry at the moment?
But where does it start, do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty terrible, but at the same time I don't like to sit and moan about it, do you know what I mean? Because where's that going to get you? Do you know what I mean? As long as, you know, unless you can sort of do something to change it or do something to sort of like change your attitude on it or whatever, I don't really see the point in sitting and moaning. You hear it enough, man, people moaning about it, moaning about doing TikToks and moaning about what the industry's like. The industry, you know, the industry's the industry, you know what I mean? It has its trials and you have to go through your trials and tribulations, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we get along, do you know what I mean? So yeah.
You say that your music is authentic and that you make it realistic so people can relate? Can you talk a bit about that?
Hold on. I never try and make the music relatable to people, you know what I'm saying? I think the music just comes out as relatable because it's real, you know what I'm saying? And it comes from a real place. And I write about my reality and shit that goes on. So the music indefinitely just comes out relatable, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I ever sit down and try and make it relatable, you know what I mean? Or try and think, oh, what would people relate to? Because at the end of the day, I don't know what they'll relate to, you know? Everyone's different, everyone has different experiences. And that's why you're going to get people that really identify with what we're doing and love it. And then you're going to get the people that don't so much, you know what I mean? But that's just life, innit, you know? It's like anything, you can look at a painting on a wall and you either be moved by it and go, yeah, I like that, or you think it's shit, you know, you think it means nothing, you know what I mean? So music's very much the same sort of thing. I just make music that I like and that means something to me and that I can dig and get my ears behind, and then if other people are into it, then cool, you know what I mean? But if they're not, then they're not, you know what I mean?
Would you say there are many differences between the first and second album?
Yeah, I would say that, yeah. The first album's more sort of raw. The second album like took a bit more of a sort of rock and roll turn, you know what I mean, as opposed to like the usual punky sound that we went for before, you know what I mean. The first album was more young and punky, whereas the second album's a little bit more mature but still young, whereas like the next stuff that we're dropping after this that I've been writing before the tour is even more mature, you know what I mean. So yeah.
Your music is quite the mix of genres. Who are your biggest inspirations who have led you to that mix?
I don't know really. Just like band music, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was younger, rap music, I used to listen to a lot of hip hop and that, because all my mates used to listen to that at the time. I was growing up, I used to smoke weed, and you know, like everyone does, you know, 15, 16 or whatever, you sit around smoking weed, listen to hip hop and shit, you know. From where I'm from anyway, that was all my mates who were listening to that. So at the time I was into that, but as I've got older, I listened to more sort of like indie rock and roll, you know, all that sort of, yeah, music from the 60s, 70s, that sort of shit, you know what I mean? That's what I'm into right now, you know. And like early 2000s rock and roll as well, I really like you know, like Jet and the Kings of Leon and all that sort of shit. Like their early stuff, you know.
Is there anyone in the current music scene that you like?
That I like? Nah, not really. Nah, not really. I'm trying to think, because I want to be able to say that I like someone, just not, you know, just to not seem difficult or whatever. But in terms of bands, not really. Nothing really, you know, catches my ear. I think fair play to doing it, you know what I mean? Because like being in a band nowadays is hard. So like I give like a certain amount of respect to anyone that does it. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyone that actually picks up a guitar and gets up there with other people and shit. It's very easy to make music on a laptop nowadays. You know what I mean? And you know, be a pop artist or a rapper or whatever. So I give respect to the people that do the band shit. But at the same time, nothing really floats my boat. You know what I mean? I'm into Bilk. You know what I mean? Big into Bilk. But when it comes to other bands and that, none of it really none of it gets me, like, you know what I mean? None of it hits my ear in that way, don't know. So I listen to older music, you know what I mean?
What's your favourite song to play live?
At the moment it's a new song called Are You Gonna Be My Lover? Which is a good one, you know what I mean? That one, this is like part of the new shit that I've been writing, you know, for this next era and that. Because we're going into a bit of a reinvention of the band after this tour, you see. So yeah, that one's my favourite one to play live. It's got a load of energy in that and it's rock and roll, you know what I mean? It's fun, man.
Speaking of a new era, what exciting things do you have coming up?
Well, after this tour we're going to get in the studio and record some music. And then we're going to do another tour next year. Release some new music, record an album, release an album. You know, just the standard shit that bands do, you know what I'm saying? They tour, release music, record music, blah, blah, whatever. That sort of shit, really. You know what I mean? I'll probably get a haircut after this tour as well, because I need it, you know what I mean? And a shave. And, yeah, probably go out for a drink somewhere or something like that. You know, that's pretty exciting. You know what I
And for the final question, I have this book. If you turn to a random page and answer the question.
Oh yeah, nice one. I've never done this. Right, that one's blank, so interview over. Right, okay. If you could have only one app for your phone, which one would you have? Only one app for my phone. Probably Instagram, to be honest. Oh, I don't know, actually, do you know what? I've changed that, actually. I wouldn't have Instagram, because I don't even have an Instagram, personal Instagram account. I only have it for the band, because I have to, you know what I mean, what I do and that. You know, everything's so dependent on social media nowadays, you know what I mean? But, what app would I have? Pinterest, probably. Quite like Pinterest, you know. You see cool like musicians, you get pictures of musicians on there, and people's outfits and stuff like that. I'm into my clothes, you know what I mean? So yeah, I like, Pinterest probably.